treat and consider all matters that shall come under their deliberation in so just and faithful a manner as to promote your honor and glory and to advance the good of those whose interests you've committed to their charge.
Amen. Item 2 on the order paper, communication from the chair.
Thank you, honorable colleagues. I welcome you to today's sitting. On 15th of July 2024, I received a petition from families in Remiaga, Sembabwe, who claimed to have been illegally evicted from their lands and mistreated by Honorable Sechkubo Theodore, MP Remiaga County. I have, in accordance with Rule 30, Sub-Rule 6 of Rules of Procedure, considered to refer the same petition to the Minister of Lands, who will coordinate with other relevant ministries whose issues have been brought to the fore, and then report back within 3 months. It was a wide petition. Under Rule 30, Sub-Rule 6, in the opinion of the Speaker, the petition can be referred to a committee or to a minister who is responsible. I felt the minister, it needed a lot of investigative work than this one we usually see in the press, people coming and showing whatever they are showing. So the minister will go deeper, working with the relevant minister. Honorable colleagues, we shall handle matters of national importance during the Prime Minister's time. Next item.
Item 3.
Honorable Sechkubo, clarification from Honorable Sechkubo.
Thank you, Right Honourable Speaker. Right Honourable Speaker, I concur with your guidance and ruling on this matter, wherein even more grave allegations were made, like shooting, killings. I think those would be appropriately handled and investigated to their logical conclusion. However, Mr. Speaker, sir, there was one of us, Honorable Kimosho, had equally made similar allegations. Maybe I need your guidance. Would he be given opportunity to sustain a petition on its own, or he would be referred, as you may guide, to any authority or institution? Because he made attacks against my name here on the floor of Parliament, and he's a member of Parliament. I urged him to withdraw, he didn't. I urged him to substantiate, he hasn't to date, and the Hansard remains open and it touches my name. Would he be given opportunity to that regard, Right Honourable Speaker, so that he can elaborate to Parliament which course of action he wants to take, or he can come up with his own fully-fledged motion or petition, as the case might be? I thank you, Right Honourable Speaker.
Thank you. I think this is why we are sending all this to the Minister. The Minister will, among the people, the Minister can ask, include the Honourable Chimosho, and the response of the Minister will be brought here. Then we shall have chance. But if Honourable Sechkubo, as a member, you feel so aggrieved by the statements which were made by the Honourable Chimosho, our rules provide a window whereby you can make a statement of personal explanation under Rule 55. In case you need to do that, please get in touch. We would give you space. Yeah. Thank you. Honorable Sewungu. Oh, let me first allow the Government Chief Whip. Acting Government Chief Whip.
Thank you, Right Honourable Speaker. Right Honourable Speaker, regarding the guidance you've given in the Honourable Sechkubo case, and then the fact that he has raised the other allegations of shootings and killings, would it not be a little more proper to look at these lands as arising out of these killings and so on, so that this matter either goes to internal affairs or internal affairs and lands are together? Right, Honorable, we seek your guidance.
Thank you. The critical matter, the cause of all this according to the petition, is land. So they are alleging Honorable Sechkubo grabbed our land. And in the process, also tortured us. So they are saying we want our land back. We want our arrested people released. So it's a multitude of issues. And now, that's why I have chosen the Minister for Land, since it started from lands. But I have guided very well. And I've written to her, I've written to the Minister, that she should involve other ministries to handle issues which are beyond land. But I wanted a focal minister, a focal person who would handle these issues. So I believe she will do a sufficient job. Honorable Sewungu.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I'm standing for, as a matter of fact, that I'm using my privilege as a member of parliament. And Mr. Speaker, the Constitution of Uganda grants any citizen to believe in what he wants, hence being a secular state. I am a Catholic, but there is a growing tendency of security agencies getting people wearing rosaries, and they end up breaking them. Even the Catholic Church, if a Muslim enters with his hat, is allowed to enter. But what we saw with one of our security officers who got our president, Achilles, he was wearing his rosary, and it was broken by security agencies, and this is unacceptable. When do they have to remove them? What does the law say? And Mr. Speaker, the Speaker of Parliament...
I just wanted the record to be clear. So the security guards of the president
security guard,
grabbed
the ADC,
a rosary of a president security guard.
No, Mr. Speaker, let me put it right. The president of National Unity Platform has his ADC by the names of Achilles, Chivumbi, and actually who was arrested by them illegally. But these security agencies arresting him broke the rosary. And I've been waiting for an apology from either the ministry or police. Nothing is happening. But as a Catholic, I pay a lot of respect to the rosary. And you want to know, if Sewungu is arrested or any other person, whether Muslim, should they remove his hat, Muslim tarabusi, the hat, or rosary? We want to know why. Because this is a secular state which allows us to believe in God. Even in Luzira, prisoners have mass. They get priests, they get reverends to pray for them. So could we know, if you are arresting me now in my rosary here, Mr. Speaker, one of them, I got them from the Right Honorable Speaker, from Italy. Do you have to break my rosary? What has the rosary done to you as a NAM officer, security officer? And fortunately, the chief whip is a Catholic as well. But he does matter. Yeah. So, Mr. Speaker, we want to know, under which legal regime do you tamper with the Catholic ornaments?
Thank you. Now, honorable colleagues, I want us going forward, we limit the point of privilege to issues to do with our entitlements in the House. That's where we should limit point of privilege. Otherwise, then I will not be able at any time. Any member will say it's my privilege to stand up and speak. It's my privilege. So let us limit it to that. But this is a very sensitive matter. I haven't been able to see the video, but also it's a matter which can inflame the nation depending on how we take it. Okay? So, Honorable Sewungu, I will take it up between the Minister of Internal Affairs and you, so that we see how best. Because I don't think someone broke it because I'm a Catholic. I recite a rosary. In my upbringing, I think I have what I have, whatever I have, because of the intercession of the Virgin Mary that comes through me reciting my rosary. That's how I survive, and that's how, even, people don't know what protects us. That's what protects some of us. Okay? So really, honorable colleagues, I request. You've heard in some countries, after such a submission, you hear demonstrations on the streets, burning what? So let us see a way. Honorable Sewungu usually guides. We are going to see a way of handling it better. Please. Honorable colleagues, when I'm requesting on some matters, some of them, please understand me. I know where this can go, and unnecessary. Yet I don't think anyone can be sent to go and grab a rosary and break it. That's why I have said I'm going to arrange. The Honorable Sewungu, I will arrange Minister for Internal Affairs. We meet, plus the chaplain of the Catholics and chairperson of the Catholic chaplaincy, and we discuss this matter.
Most obliged, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you. It's Honorable Nsamba.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. Right Honorable Speaker, there is a matter that concerns this House in the press and in the public about this Parliament meeting in regions. Yesterday, when the LOP raised it, you guided that you're going to have a meeting and you communicate. I was on the news when our colleagues from northern Uganda had taken up from a different angle, completely from the angle of Parliament, to make it a bit tribal. Mr. Speaker, we are members of Parliament here. Whatever decision that goes on in your leadership, we need to be involved. Should we expect a proper motion before this House proposing the shifting or the hosting of this Parliament elsewhere beyond this House, so that we can have our own contribution, so that it's a session that members agreed here to do that? Mr. Speaker, the earlier the better. Mr. Speaker, when we leave this matter not brought here, and it is, I'm hearing meetings sitting over the same, so many things are going on over the same, a proper communication needs to come to this House so that the country knows the reasons why and the advantages. Everything needs to be communicated. Mr. Speaker, thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Honorable colleagues, I also saw the exchanges in the media, which were unpleasant, and really uncalled for. And also, that's why I usually say, when we are making statements, we should be very cautious. For example, I don't think we are spending 5 billion for the seating, for the proposed seating. Okay? No, and I read, is it 5 billion per day, so 20 billion, and now the public is saying that you stop those sittings so that we pay in turns, so that we place in turns. And I tell you some of the statements we make here. We open fire against ourselves indirectly. In this House, if we think some of us will go clean others, that it might end up all being, mixed up. But I will be, yes, I talked to the clerk. We are going to inform you formally as a House on, I think, Tuesday or Wednesday in the sitting here, and we shall guide you how it goes. Now, the Speaker, under the general authority of the Speaker, Rule 7, yes, Rule 7, where the Speaker has general authority, can determine where a sitting can be. That's how we got Kororo. That's how you used to go to Serena. I can't remember when we had a motion here where you would first debate and say we've made a resolution, we go, we sit here and there and there. But our role will be to ensure that indeed we bring everyone on board. And I know yesterday there are MPs who are not happy that I denied them a chance to respond to Rob. Please, these are our issues internally. This shouldn't be an issue of debate here. MPs start pointing on each other. You're benefiting, you're not. Please, let's take it easy. Then we shall guide you next week. We shall guide you next week. Let's move on from this issue. Honorable Felix, let's move on from this issue. Let's get our elder who has been here longer than all of us.
Mr. Speaker, about 3 months ago, the Speaker and the staff of Parliament invited members of the Greater North Parliamentary Group, especially from West Nile, Acholi, Lango, and Karamoja. We had a meeting down in our conference hall to inform us about the planned program of Parliament having sessions in the North. All members from the North were invited. And we were informed that the meeting is going to be in Gulu. And the reason is to take Parliament to the people. The second is that we need visibility. That is what we are informed, that as Parliament, we also need to be visible with the people, because the power belongs to the people. Mr. Speaker,
Honorable Guzuri, point of order. Honorable First, there's a point of order.
Mr. Speaker, Honorable Okot is a very respected member of this House. He has alleged here that all the members of Parliament from northern Uganda and including West Nile, where I belong, were invited. I'm not privy to any such invitation. I've checked my pigeonhole. I do not have such invitation. Is it in order for a member to impute that I, as a member of Parliament, received an invitation when I have not received that invitation?
Thank you. Honorable colleague, not receiving the invitation doesn't mean you are not invited. Okay. Because, honorable colleagues, because I remember I'm the speaker delegated chair that meeting. I'm the one who chaired that meeting. Now, because it was a short notice, so what we did, we invited members through your associations, because you belong to groups. Northern Uganda, Honorable Achori, Honorable Kor, Lango, Honorable Tony Ayo, and okay, because it was just a consultative meeting. So, if that wasn't done properly, we are sorry, Honorable Guzuri. If that wasn't done properly, we are sorry. Next time we shall do it. But no, for the record, for Honorable Felix Okotogong knows we invited all. Yeah, so we can't say we invited some and we didn't invite others. Okay? But the way we did it, the chairpersons might not have reached out to all of you at once. Okay? Yeah. So conclude, Honorable.
Mr. Speaker, sir, I think this Parliament belongs to the people. And having meetings closer to our people is not wrong at all. And I would like to appeal to members of Parliament, let not politicize this exercise. That is my appeal to members of Parliament. Whatever we say undermines the power and of our Parliament. And therefore, Mr. Speaker, I want to inform members that actually we were informed, we are invited for this meeting, and maybe, Mr. Speaker, you can extend invitation to other members so that they are fully informed.
Thank you. Now, honorable colleagues, Honorable colleagues, the presiding officer will guide you on where the session of 27th, 28th, and 29th will be. And it will be gazetted. It will be formally gazetted. That's how, and proclaimed. Let us stop on this matter, Honorable colleagues. Honorable Semuju.
Honorable Speaker, Right Honorable Speaker, with your indulgence, the question raised by Honorable
no,
Samba,
Honorable Sechkubo,
Mr. Speaker, I want to thank you.
I request you.
Mr. Speaker, a while ago, the Minister for Local Government was introduced also as acting Chief Whip. Mr. Speaker, I also refer to one of my issues I raised with you recently when you were assigned by the Minister of Education. Yet in a hierarchy, you are higher than ministers. We seem, Mr. Speaker, to have a problem, and we need to be reassured that the government is still functioning as a government. The minister, the president of Gabon, has been in the country. This country has a hierarchy of the president, vice president, prime minister, the side of the executive. But the president of Gabon is made to trek a whole journey to Gulu, to go and meet President Yoweri Museveni's younger brother, Salim Saleh, a whole president of a country. And what they were discussing are issues of government, that on agriculture you go to my younger brother. Can we be told what position does Saleh hold? Is he the number 2 in the country? Is he number 3? Is he number 4? That you get a whole visiting head of state. You remember we nearly had problems here when Garanga crashed in a helicopter. So can we be told, because I have also seen a vice president and prime minister also trekking to Gulu to go and meet a person they should be supervising. So can we be told what position does General Saleh hold, such that visiting heads of state, if they don't see his elder brother, they go to see him, such that if a vice president and prime minister, when they are appointed, they go to visit him and not. So can we be told? Because that time, Mr. Speaker, I told you I fear by you may end up one day.
Thank you. Thank you. Now, honorable colleagues, what Honorable Semuju has raised brings me to one day. I happen to know President Kibaki. So when we were hosting him here, when the government was hosting him here, on his schedule, he requested that there is someone he wants to see. And he wants to go to his home. And that was the late John Nagenda. The government made arrangements. President Kibaki came, did all state functions he needed to do, and he went to visit a personal friend on whom he reached. No ADC, no nothing. They talked about their times. I happen to know a little bit about the visit of the president of Gabon. And one of his closest friends and the people he admires most, among the people is General Salim Saleh. He made that special request that he wanted to visit General Saleh as a friend. Now, it is uncourteous for a government to say, no, you can't go and visit General Saleh because he's the brother of the president. It will send a wrong message. So I request you, honorable colleagues, you better befriend presidents so that when they are coming here, they put you on their itinerary and the state will allow. I'm very, very sure if the president of Gabon had chosen Honorable Semuju, it would have been facilitated properly to visit him. Next item.
Item 3, statement by Minister on commemoration of the International Youth Day, 12th August 2024.
Honorable Minister. Honorable Minister for Youth.
after surviving a plane, something is going to kill him there.
No, no, we are proceeding well now. We on an item where they have not yet presented anything. So the procedure is right. Yeah.
Right Honorable Speaker and Honorable Members of Parliament, the statement I'm making to this August House is about the commemoration of the International Youth Day, which is celebrated annually on the 12th of August. Background, colleagues, you may recall the International Youth Day has its origin in the first ever World Conference of Ministers responsible for youth that took place in Lisbon, Portugal, between the 8th and 12th of August 1998. Convinced by the numerical strength of the youth globally and their inherent capacity to play a pivotal role in the socio-economic and political transformation of society, the ministers recommend that the 12th August every year be designated by the UN system as International Youth Day. In 1991, in its resolution 54-120, the UN General Assembly endorsed and recommendation made by the World Conference of Ministers responsible for the youth. The Assembly further recommended that the information or activities be organized to commemorate the day as a way to promote awareness of the World Programme of Action for the Youth. The Ministry of Gender, Labour and Social Development, in collaboration with other line ministries, departments and agencies, development partners, civil society groups, civil society organizations, coordinate the activities to mark the International Youth Day. As this statement details the key aspects of national celebration for the current year 2024. The purpose of the statement, therefore, is to inform Parliament that Uganda will join the rest of the world to commemorate the International Youth Day on Monday, 12th August 2024. To inform Parliament that the theme of this year's celebration is skills development for enhancement of opportunities for youth. Aware that we must put a lot of emphasis on skilling of youth within the 21st century, hard and soft copy and digital skills among others. I'm here also to inform Parliament that Sorot District will host the celebration at Sorot Koa PTC, Sorot District. Inform Parliament that all local government and cities have been informed and guided to observe the International Youth Day in accordance with national guidelines for commemoration of national days. I'm here also to inform Parliament that His Excellency the President of the Republic of Uganda, Yoweri Kaguta Museveni, will preside over the celebration. And I'm here to invite you, members of Parliament, to participate in the national celebration. Expected outcome of International Youth Day. International Youth Day 2024 has been presided over by the International Youth Week, which started on Monday 5th August 2024 and will continue to 11th August 2024 during the busy eventful week. Various activities are taking place. The activities will include but not limited to the following: symposium and dialogue guided by the theme skills development for enhancement of opportunities for the youth, games and sports, community engagement including cleaning, homesteads, workplaces, etc., tree planting, blood donation, voluntary HIV testing and counseling, radio and TV shows, exhibition by young entrepreneurs demonstrating value addition related to projects and enterprises, then the annual National Youth Council meeting, which will take place on Sunday at Soroti University Main Hall. The celebration will, in addition, witness cultural entertainment presentation of the youth leaders, memorandum, and our ministry's report on government various programs aimed at empowering young people to address the unemployment and effectively contribute to the socio-economic transformation of the country. Lessons learned from previous celebrations. In collaboration with the partner and the youth of Uganda, a transformative movement that connects youth empowerment, reproductive health, and environmental conservation beyond International Youth Day enhances not only the lives of countless young individuals, but also epitomizes the power of collective action in steering towards a brighter and sustainable future. Celebrating the International Youth Day gives an opportunity for the political and civil leaders to give accountability to both the youth and the whole country on what government has done and plans to do for the youth. The young people are also able to state what they have done for themselves and commit to continue doing for their personal development as a contribution to sustainable national, socio-economic and political transformation. Key achievement since last year's celebration on 12th August 2023 in Kabale, the Minister of Gender, Labour and Social Development has, among others, operationalized the National Coordination Mechanism for Youth Programs that provides quarterly meetings with the partners to facilitate joint planning, implementation, monitoring, and evaluation of youth interventions. 2. Supervise wealth creation and youth empowerment programs, including the Youth Livelihood Program, started in financial year 2023-2014 with an approved budget of approximately 347 billion 672 million, out of which 241 billion 45 million was released by financial year 2023-2024. Uganda shilling 185 billion 306 million of this disbursed to a total of 23,315 projects, benefiting approximately 265,237 young people, and 143,53 of these male, and 265,237 female. Cumulatively, Uganda shilling 40 billion to 520 million has been recovered. Women Entrepreneurship Program, that is the other one, B, WEP, started in financial year 2024-2025 within a total disbursement of 134 billion 215 million to 20,556 projects that have benefited over 225,641 women. Cumulative recovered of 35 billion 667 million. Youth Venture Capital Fund started in financial year 2011 and 2012 with a capital investment of 25 billion. Government of Uganda contributed 12 billion and 12 billion from the initial 3 commercial bank. Total.
Please continue, Honourable Minister. Please, Collins, the Minister,
Youth Venture Capital Fund.
The Minister is about to finish reading this.
Youth
It's
Venture
a maiden
Capital
statement.
Fund started in financial
It's a maiden statement.
Youth Venture Capital Fund started in financial year 2011-2012 with a capital investment of 25 billion. Government of Uganda contributed 12.5 billion and 12.5 billion from initial 3 commercial bank. Total cumulative disbursement by May 2024 was 195 billion 746 million 335,421 to 56,252 beneficiaries, of whom 36.6 are female youth. Number 3, implemented the National Apprenticeship Scheme, where 90 youth apprenticeships have been skilled under the pilot scheme and graduated in tourism, hospitality. 200 more are due for graduation in November 2024. 750 youth have been recruited to undergo training. Trained 3,982 youth from different districts of the country in digital literacy under the digitalization of Juakali Enterprises for Job and Productive Growth DIG track project in collaboration with Huawei Telecom Company.
Procedure, Honorable Seungu.
Mr. Speaker, sir, with a lot of respect for the Minister Youth, I love what he's reading. But, Mr. Speaker, normally when we are getting a statement for such a function, it should not involve all these details because he has a committee where he addresses these matters. And here we are going to debate a statement where he's quoting a number of figures with an attachment of facts related to the figures he's giving. Wouldn't it be procedural, okay, Mr. Speaker, that we allow the new minister, he tables whatever he's stating, but again, the statement we get from him comes out in relationship to the function of the day for the youth, other than detailing figures that we cannot internalize and comprehend now. Right, Honorable Speaker. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker.
No, please.
You had allowed, Mr.
No, we don't work that way. I don't allow through silence. Please. I mentioned your name. And I didn't even make any sign to you too. But what did you want to add on?
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker.
Now I've made a sign.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I think the minister, what I wanted to add, these are proper information for this House. If he's highlighting the successes and the achievements of those programs, he should come formally to this House, present them, then we debate them. Let us now concentrate on the organization of the day. And because it is an international day, it comes from International Day, they never focused on these programs as he's bringing them out. So let us focus on the themes, the international themes, let us focus on the national themes, and we see how our young people can benefit into that. Thank you.
Yeah, Honorable colleagues, you see, Rule 52 does not give a structure of a statement the minister should make. This is a statement which the minister feels he should bring here. I remember last time, Honorable colleagues, I can't remember exactly which day we are going to celebrate, but they had in how tents will be arranged, who will do the parade. The parade, we shall have this group on a parade. After this group, this one will put on this color, this one will hoist the flag. And we said no. This can't be a statement. Maybe it's a running curve. Honorable ministers, take note. Next statement, you should focus on the theme. On the theme, okay? Yeah. But so far, so good. You're doing very well, Honorable Minister. We are complaining that you've given us so much information.
Thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker. I want to thank Honorable Seung for raising what he has raised, but it is on that ground that I want to give you a background. When we go for celebration, we should not celebrate food and the soda. We need to celebrate achievements made from the previous celebration to date. That is the reason why I'm reading for you what I'm reading. And I would also expect you to confirm whether what I've said is true, whether it is happening. Thank you very much. Then the Youth Venture Capital Fund started in financial year 2011-2012 with a capital investment of 25 billion.
Point of order.
Mr. Speaker, maybe the new minister needed to have been told how things are done here. You have guided that the minister may be in the future. The points he's raising in the statement are actually matters of policy that come here through policy statements. We actually finished them. And he doesn't have to repeat them because we have them in our books. So the point of order, Mr. Speaker, is whether the minister is in order to defy your guidance, since you have guided him to concentrate on theme and not matters of policy that come here through policy statements, and this parliament has engaged with those issues, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you. I think the minister has just joined the parliament. He doesn't know that these things came here. So he might be thinking he's giving you new information. And he might explain it differently. So let's give him a chance. But I think they've taken note next time. But Honourable Minister, conclude.
Right Honourable Speaker, I've taken note of your guidance. I'm almost concluding. Implemented the national, trained 3,982 youth from different districts of the country in digital literacy, skills under digitalization, Juakali enterprises for job productivity. Provided business toolkits and equipment since 2017 to 17,015 groups of young people to support their enterprises, out of which 7,167 are male, 9,174 are female, under the supporting the Juakali enterprises for transition to formal economy program. Commenced the implementation of the United Nations Joint Adolescent Youth Program, funded to a tune of $22 million by 13 UN agencies in collaboration with the ministries responsible for gender, labor and social development, health, education and sports, overall coordination by the UN. Agencies finalized comprehensive consultation on the life skills and health education for out-of-school adolescents and youth, and also initiated the development of national strategy for skills development and for out-of-school vulnerable youth. Developed and designed a national action plan on youth and peace and security. Contributed to the review of national employment policy, development of national employment strategy to complete strategies and intervention of youth employment. Also participated in the development of National Development Plan, NDP4, to ensure inclusive development that leverage the demographic dividends from our country's youth population. In conclusion, Right Honourable Speaker and honourable colleagues, I wish to conclude by reminding you that Uganda will join the rest of the world to commemorate the International Youth Day on Monday, 12th August at Soroti Koa PTC, Soroti District, under the theme Skills Development for Enhancement of Opportunities for the Youth. Further to that, His Excellency the President.
Honourable Minister, is a procedure matter. On how you're concluding.
Thank you, Right Honourable Speaker. Right Honourable Speaker, I want to, this was not intended to interrupt the Minister, because, Mr. Speaker, the Minister has been so generous to give us a lot of information about so many things. But as a way of procedure, Mr. Speaker, I recall that on his maiden speech in this House, the Minister undertook before this House to make sure that the youth who had been arrested and held for a long time would be released. He even went ahead to demand that a list be given to him. Mr. Speaker, now that the Minister has volunteered a lot of information, wouldn't it even have been procedural okay for him to tell us before he concludes?
Thank you.
Where he has reached so far, because he undertook before this House that you will see that as we commemorate the International Youth Day, how far has he gone on the issue of the release of the youth that he undertook to secure?
Thank you. Now, colleagues, sometimes you make it really difficult for your presiding officer. Yeah, because this is a very good submission which could have come during a debate. I'm going to allow a debate. I'm going to allow a limited debate as provided for under Rule 52. That's number one. But number two, he has not yet concluded. So I don't know what he has in his conclusion. Maybe Honorable Numbers is cheating for your exams. In the conclusion, this is a critical issue you can update us on. As you conclude.
Further to that, His Excellency the President of the Republic of Uganda is expected to preside over the celebration. Invite all of you colleagues and members of Parliament to attend the International Youth Day celebration in Soroti. I thank you for your kind attention for God and my country. I remain Barugahara Balamatenyi, the Minister of Majority.
No.
Right Honourable Speaker.
Honourable Minister, Parliament is a house of record. we don't
Yes.
have a Minister of Majority. Please clarify if you
I
have.
remain Barugahara Bala Matenyi, the Minister of Youth
Yeah.
for Children and Youth Affairs.
The Minister of State for Youth and Children Affairs.
Thank you very much for the correction, Right Honorable Speaker.
Thank you. Debate, Honorable Nansa Chola, Honorable Mushemeza, Honorable Namuga, Fort Poto. Yes, former chair agenda, Honorable Nakato, I come, I pick. Honorable Frank Akawi, I come. Masaba, I will pick you, Honorable.
Thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker. I want to thank the Minister so much for being well elaborate. And I want to thank also the country that we are going to commemorate the Youth Day, the International Youth Day on the 12th in Soroti. I want to thank sincerely the President of the Republic of Uganda for initiating the skilling of the youth in all the sub-region of this country. But also, in light of that, I want to implore through the Minister that it shouldn't only be the skilling that is being done. They should enhance with a few things that after the training of the 6 months when the youth are going home, people who have done tailoring should be given the sewing machines, because we've realized that most of these youth, after finishing, they go home empty-handed. I know the Minister for Gender might tell us that there are sewing machines in their ministry, but the procedure of getting those things are not very easy. And it is not enough for all those that have already acquired the skilling at the industrial hub. So, Honorable Minister, please take note of that. Then finally, Honorable Speaker and colleagues, we've seen youth livelihood programs in this country. But in some districts, including where I come from, Lamuo, the money that has been always taken to the youth, it is always being eaten by the technical staff at the district. And most of these technical officers who are the youth focal persons, they don't even want to let the youth know how much the district has received as youth livelihood programs. And I want to implore our youth, the Minister for Youth, that they need to start fast-tracking how much the youth are always getting. Because several times, some of these monies that goes to the district, people embezzle them.
Fort Poto.
Thank you so much, Right Honorable Speaker. I also want to thank the Minister of Youth for the statement he has given us. Mr. Speaker, sir, this brings me to what we were discussing yesterday about multi-sectoral planning. When you look in our districts, every year they train 200 youth. And yet in the Ministry of Gender, we have a program of Juakali. We have a program of Youth Livelihood Fund. We have a program of Youth Venture Capital Fund. I would like to know, Right Honorable Speaker, from you, how has, through you, Right Honorable Speaker, because I'm addressing you, I'm not addressing the Minister. Through you, Right Honorable Speaker, I would like to know how has the Minister collaborated with other departments to ensure that the youth that are being skilled are able to acquire tools, because right now they've gone back to the villages, they are there and they are forgetting the skills that they have got. As we are celebrating, or we are commemorating World Youth Day, we want to see our youth getting employment, and this is through skilling and giving them tools. Thank you so much, Right Honorable Speaker.
Thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker. I would like to thank the Honorable Minister of State for Youth and Children Affairs for the statement he has given. Right Honorable Speaker, the youth that we are talking about are not only the able-bodied youth. We have youth with disabilities. And statistics has already shown that only 2% of these youth are accessing the skilling that we have in the country, including that of the presidential initiative. Right Honorable Speaker, I would like to implore the ministry, which is headed by the Minister of State for Youth and Children Affairs, to take inventory and understand that these youths are not only the youth that come on their own, but they are youth with disability. Right Honorable Speaker, the rehabilitation centers for the people with disabilities, the young people with disabilities, are in very deplorable state. Go to Ruti, and you find that the young people there, they have no tools for learning, they have no tools after learning, they have no mosquito nets. Even when the Ministry of Health gives free mosquito nets, they cannot even think about these institutions and give them free mosquito nets. The young people have very dilapidated infrastructure. These young people who are disabled walk at night almost half a kilometer to access a toilet, even when it has rained. We have been there, Right Honorable Speaker. And I would like to implore the minister to visit so that we don't create a double jeopardy to these people who we pretend to be saving their future. Right Honorable Speaker, the young people with disabilities and their rehabilitation centers have no food and non-food items. The budget was cut, so we don't know whether we still are standing to the fact that we are rehabilitating them or we just get them back to their homes. They have very poor accommodation. They cannot access the skilling we are talking about. They cannot afford, because to be disabled means that you pay extra for either an accompanying person or something, some devices that need to access you to the training and the skilling they are giving.
Muyende.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. I want to thank the Honorable Minister for the statement made. And I wanted to make one comment that as Busoga region, we have Nakabango Skilling Project. And we would like to thank the government for that initiative. But every district was requested to send 16 youth in Busoga region. And as Buyende, we had 680 youth who dropped out of school. I'm privileged that the minister visited one time the district and he saw how much overwhelming the youth demands were. Through you, Right Honorable Speaker, I'm requesting Honorable Minister for the Youth to make a revisit and revise. Every district is dynamic. As Buyende, most of the youth were engaged in fishing. As I talk now, this morning, majority of youth have been on a strike at Bukung landing site. And yet yesterday we were there, the RDC discussed the issues of fishing, and we failed to control them. And yet, in real essence, their argument is right. Majority have been engaged in fishing, especially these smaller fish. And majority are incapacitated financially. They cannot afford the legal.
Thank you. Youth Northern Uganda, Nabuga, Franka Kabuye.
Thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker. Right Honorable Speaker, if I were an angel of God, I would include you in the book of life, and I'll explain to you why. Right Honorable Speaker, I've been observing how you've demanded for particularly this statement, and also your continuous involvement in youth-related events, including the Youth Parliament and the Children's Parliament. And this is a testament, Right Honorable Speaker, that you have not forgotten your OBs and OGs, who are the youth. Secondly, I want to thank the Honorable Minister. For 3 years, we have not had the International Youth Day celebrated on its internationally gazetted day. But for the first time in 3 years, we finally had that. I want to thank the Minister for prioritizing the youth in the government calendar. Thirdly, Following this statement, I have two concerns. Right Honorable Speaker, we have a number of events celebrated by government. And these events are usually one-day events with very minimal impact. Right Honorable Speaker, how can we ensure that these events have a lasting and significant impact on our people and not just celebrations? The Honorable Minister just said so does. Secondly, a majority of leaders in this House, Right Honorable Speaker, are products of youth leadership. A majority of these members are former National Youth Council leaders, youth leaders within political parties, or even youth leaders in ONSA. There is a challenge. We have an elaborate structures of youth throughout the country, but these structures are mostly non-functional and weak. How can we as this House ensure that these structures are functional and meaningfully impact on the lives of the many youth that we represent? Finally, Right Honorable Speaker, given that this country is largely youth-centric, and the Minister has also provided a lot of facts on programs of youth, I want to move that we gazette a specific session of this House this month, which is a youth month. And we have a very structured debate on the status of the youth and also youth programs in this country, so that we make appropriate recommendations for action. Thank you.
Thank you. I think whenever we shall meet, let's arrange we meet under our usual platform. We share on how this can be structured, and then we'll see how best we can implement it. But that's a good idea. Yes. Honorable Namuga, I want first, if you know you're above 30, first sit. Let me first. Honorable Namuga.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker.
Yeah, she's, just look at her, she's below 30. Honorable Namuga.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. I want to appreciate the Honorable Minister for his submission, and also to appreciate the contribution of government towards skilling the youth in this country. Right Honorable Speaker, I have a comment about the Youth Livelihood Program that has now lasted for some 10 years and above. Right Honorable Speaker, this is a revolving fund. However, some amount close to 43 billion has not been revolved. So the Ministry of Gender must ensure that this money is revolved. This is according to the Auditor General's report, that the money was recovered, but it wasn't revolved. That should be noted too. Right Honorable Speaker, we should listen to the plight of the youth that had it strike on issues of corruption. Right Honorable Speaker, many of these youth are in prison on charges of becoming a public nuisance. How I wish on this Youth Day celebrations, Honorable Minister, you listen to the plight of the youth to be released unconditionally. And also we have many youth in prisons for political reasons. 4 years, 5 years, they've not appeared before courts of law. So if we are to look at a government that cares for the youth, really look into ensuring that these youth get justice. Lastly, Right Honorable Speaker, we all know that we've just concluded the census, the population census, and it's clear that Uganda is among the countries with a very youthful population, but very unemployed. The youth have been made unproductive. So, Honorable Minister, can we think about the youth that are very skilled but very redundant in homes of their parents? Kindly think about them so that this country can serve us as a whole nation unselectively. Last, Right Honorable Speaker, Sembabule as a district has been left out on issues of skilling centers, and we are among the most populated districts. So think about Sembabule as a district. We only have one vocational school. It is Rutunku Vocational School that is in Maogola North, far away from the most populated constituents of Maogola County. So, Honorable Minister for the Youth, think about, and even Maogola West of the Honorable Nifa, but Maogola County of Honorable Namuga is more vulnerable. So, think about, Honorable Minister, of how you can cater for Sembabule in a unique way. It's not being selfish, but Sembabule is very vulnerable in many areas. Thank you, Right Honorable Minister. Right Honorable Speaker.
Thank you, Honorable Frank Akabuye.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. The Honorable Minister who has read to us the statement, we do appreciate, but I also wanted to make a comment about the list of the success or the achievement that has been listed in the statement. The Minister speaks about the YLP program, which he quotes as one of the successful programs Ministry of Gender has implemented. But on the Gender Committee where we sit, this program was cut short of funding because it was non-performing. The funds that were given out to go and help the youths were all embezzled, and some of the ghost groups that were created failed to pay back the fund. That's why on the recovery, you'll find that YLP is performing very poorly and UWEP was performing way better. So I think for a program that has been listed by government and cut short of funding because of non-performing, we can't list it under the successful programs that we've given out to the youth. Also, back to the theme, Right Honorable Speaker, we are speaking about giving skills to the young people. Yes, that brings back to the mind of government that we identify and recognize many young people are short cut of the opportunities because they lack the skills. How I wish the minister could prioritize the theme by putting it in action, not just speaking. It is a shame that today we are celebrating and giving such a theme, but recently many medical interns are in cells. Many have been arrested because they are fighting for opportunities for the skills they learned in the different institutions of higher learning. It is a shame that we, the leaders, who should give these young people an opportunity to listen to them when they come out to speak about corruption. It is not about only corruption in parliament. They speak about corruption everywhere. Many funds have been listed that they have been given to us, the young people. But when you go to our districts, none of us can identify a project that is running well from the 284 billion that is claimed to have been dispersed in the Youth Livelihood Program. So I think we should give them a voice, listen to them, and also welcome their ideas. Sometimes they're advising us not to fall into the deeper pit, but by blocking them, we are giving them maybe an alternative to.
Thank you. Honorable Masawa. Just wait. Is the Shadow Minister for Youth? Please, Shadow Minister, conclude.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker, for that chance. By us failing to recognize their voices and giving them a chance to be heard, we might giving them an alternative to maybe confront us in the other way around. Also, finally, Right Honorable Speaker, when we look at you, some of us admire the kind of leadership you offer to this house and the country. How I wish, for the many years I've joined Parliament, we've celebrated this day. And we've always had that one chief guest who is no longer relevant to the circumstances that we are passing through as a country. How I wish on this day we get young, able leaders like you. I'm also here. We have the able president of the National Unity Platform. He's an inspiration to this generation. How I wish we give such kind to go and speak to these people. Right Honorable Speaker, the day of the youth celebration is losing meaning because it is predominantly, or it is dominated by one political party. All other parties, all other youths need a voice. They need to be celebrated. Their ideas need to be heard. But when you look at the settings and the organizations, it looks like the Youth NRM Day. How I wish we give that platform that can accommodate everyone, regardless of their color, regardless of their political backgrounds, but give them a chance and also new faces to speak to them, inspire them, motivate them to be better leaders of this, our country. I thank you.
Thank you. Yes, Honorable Frank, our senior leader, is very relevant. We are learning a lot from him. Yes, we are learning a lot from him. Honorable Masawa.
Thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker. I want to thank the Minister for that statement, and I want to thank government for the initiative that they are doing to attract more foreign direct investment into the country, because this is employing most of our youth. But I believe we need to go beyond just providing employment. I think we need to look at the quality of employment that this foreign direct investment is bringing into the country. I do represent a constituency that has one of the biggest industrial parks, I think, outside Kampala, that is Mbale City. But when you reach in this industrial park and you look at the conditions that our youths are going through, it's quite alarming. It's as if it's another form of slave trade, because many of our youths are being exploited. You find they're being paid about 5,000, 6,000 a day. They're working 12 hours. They are not provided with any PPEs, any health and safety. And yes, it's the bitter reality that is happening. And I've tried to look at the national employment policy, and not many of these things are catered for. So I believe we need to cater for our youths. We need to protect them, because once someone is earning less than 200,000 a day, what do you expect that person to retire to after maybe 10, 15 years? These industrial parks, these factories, they are not saving for our children. None of them actually, I've not seen any registered with NSSF and saving. They are being given handouts, cash on a daily basis. So I think on this Youth Day, it is one of the key things that we need to look at.
Honorable Pachuto.
Thank you very much, my brother, Honorable Karim. It is with a heavy heart that I put you on a point of order. But why I'm putting you on a point of order is referring to the youth working in industrial park in your constituency and equating them to slaves. I think that is too much. I think that is too much, Honorable Speaker, for that to go on record. Because yes, all of us have visited that industrial park. They may be earning little, but a slave does not earn anything. A slave does not choose to do the work he or she is undertaking. That's why, my honorable colleague and good friend, I think that is too much for a leader to refer to somebody who has gone to willingly, opted willingly to work and is earning it may be less, and equate that person to a slave. That is are you therefore in order, my honorable colleague, to refer to these young Ugandans who are willingly working, offering their labor and earning something, though little, as slaves in this era?
Thank you. Yes, I think from what I got from Honorable Masaba, he was laboring to explain the conditions that these people they are working in and all that, but he could have put it better without, Honorable colleague, there's what we call a glass half empty and a glass half full. If you say half empty, you don't appreciate any effort that has managed to put in something to drink. But when you say half full, even if it's very little, you appreciate the little effort. It's better than those who have not gotten anything. I know many youth would want to go and work under those conditions in Mbari if you gave them. So, but again, he is raising a grave concern he has as a leader from the area. So you can clarify it better. You package it better.
Thank you very much, Right Honorable. When I was stating, I was trying to explain the conditions, and I said it is as if, I did not say that they are under slave trade. I don't know if you got me right, but I said it is as if, because many of them are working because they have no option and they have nothing else to do. So that is what I was trying to explain. And as a leader from the area, I approached some of the owners of these parks and requested for jobs for some of these young people. But when they got there, the challenges that they do face, I no longer now support or take or help recruit people to go into these works, because some of the children got accidents at work. And these parks, they do not provide anything to do with medical. One got the arm messed up by one of the machines, and we had to go through a lot to treat this individual. That is the issue I was trying to raise. I did not mean they're under slavery, but the conditions, I think we need to address this issue once and for all, and the ministry needs to come out with clear guidelines. They need to save for these children. And I think one of the key things we should focus on as the 11th Parliament is the law on minimum wage. I don't know how soon that can come back on this floor of Parliament, because honestly speaking, many of our people are being exploited, and we're having a lot of capital flight. There is a lot of money that is leaving this country and at the expense of our youth, right, Honorable Speaker. So I think government needs to take an interest in that, and probably when you're addressing, as the minister, you should address this issue concerning the pay of our people who are working in most of these factories around it.
Thank you. Now, honorable colleagues, I'm constrained by time. Oh, let me allow Youth Western. I'm sorry, I'm constrained by time. Yeah.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. I personally want to thank you, Right Honorable Speaker, for your continued...
I have seen mothers, you're not agreeing with how the children are submitting. The children are more aggressive. So it's their day to day. If there is any other youth MP present, youth MP.
Right Honorable Speaker, I want to personally express my sincere gratitude to you as the leader of this Parliament for your continued support and mentorship that you are offering the young people of this country, especially through us, the leaders. We thank you, and as a leadership, we are indebted to you. Thank you very much. Two, I wish to commend the government of Uganda for this time allocating resources that the International Youth Day is celebrated on its day, departing from the previous years when we would celebrate it weeks and months after. I thank the government. Thank you very much. I also want to commend the minister. He highlighted one important thing. That is, they launched the National Coordination Mechanism for Youth Interventions. Right Honorable Speaker, as the minister highlighted, it is true indeed. There are so many interventions of government scattered across various MDAs, various ministries of government, and yet no single fruit of synergy can be seen from these interventions. How I wish, Honorable Minister, that you would elevate this national coordination mechanism from just being a coordination mechanism for programs under one ministry and coordinate all programs across all ministries. And secondly, Minister, Honorable Minister, I request that information pertaining all government interventions for the youth be well packaged, put in one package and made available for the youth on platforms that are easily accessible to them. Other than that, when we come and read figures here and read other interventions that government has put in place, this remains rhetoric to most of the young people in this country. And lastly, Right Honorable Speaker, I wish to request that before we celebrate the International Youth Day, which is Monday next week, that some of the underlying questions, like the questions on medical interns, be resolved such that on that day, we are celebrating all at once, not with some of us in jail, not with some of us held behind bars because of trying to raise their voices. Right Honorable Speaker, as a young person, I was a bit perturbed when I saw members with some resistance trying to say, Honorable Minister, don't provide that much information. One of the purposes of us celebrating this day is to provide a platform that as much information is available to the public on what government is doing, on what the youth are doing to contribute. So when we come to this plenary and members are held aback and trying to limit on what information should be provided, as young people, we feel a little bit excluded. I want to request members to receive always this information, take it up and follow up, and mobilize young people to take interest in what government is doing to contribute and change their lives. Thank you very much, and may God bless you.
Thank you. Honorable Minister. And also the issue of Honorable Namboze, which you raised earlier on, can update us.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker and Honorable colleagues, for the question raised. I want to start with Honorable Nambozo's request or reminder that I came to the floor of the House.
Honorable Nambozi.
Honorable Betty Nambozo.
No.
Honorable
Nambozo is
Honorable
Florence.
Betty Nambozi.
Yes, good.
Okay, Bachireke. Thank you. Thank you for the correction.
For record, Mr. Speaker, procedure for record.
Now, Honorable Betty.
Honorable Mrs. Betty Nambozi Bachireke.
Mr. Speaker, sir, in this house, we have 3 members who are almost go by the same names, and for the sake of clarity, Mr. Speaker, I wish to state that I'm called Bachireke Namboze Betty. Mr. Speaker, if the Honorable Minister continues to call me Nambozo, he will remove me from Buganda to Bugisu. There is the Honorable Nambozo in this house. I'm not the one. I'm Bachireke Namboze Betty.
Thank you. Now, I'm sure even going to Bugisu has no problem for you, because at least you don't go under Imbaru. Some of us would be scared. Now, please, honorable colleagues. Oh, yes, sorry, Lop.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. The Honorable Minister Youth, there is a clarification I would want you to make, bearing in mind that the National Planning Authority commissioned a demographics report, and it puts the youth age at a dependence ratio highest ever, even with the skilling, even with the achievements that you have just taken us through, even with the digitalization. It is beyond even 100, it is 103%. See how abnormal it is. And we're trying to look at how to harness the demographic dividend of the youth. And this is between 2022, 2024. And I expected you to let us know how the programs have not helped to lower the mass unemployment of the youth. They are at a staggering 78%. Of course, Uganda has the youngest population. But the challenge we grapple with, and you grapple with as a government, is that of mass unemployment. And it has seen many of these youth, particularly those that are churned out by our universities and other tertiary institutions that are skilled, leaving this country through trafficking, through unlicensed companies, to work in the Middle East and other places where they have even been subjected to modern day slavery. In fact, my colleague, the Honorable Masawa, was accurate to have talked of slavery. The modern day slavery is this one where your labor is exploited. Most of the investors, by the way, one of the factors, Mr. Speaker, why some investors would love to come to Uganda is because Uganda has the cheapest labor to offer. Uganda has the best young population whose labor is exploitable, Mr. Speaker. And that's not something to aggrandize yourself about. It is something to frown about. But from the submission, I see your statement is awash with the achievements, which achievements are theoretical, on ground. Yeah, the truth of the matter is that even this youth, the Chuakali, who are skilled, majority of them, I think I concur with the member, female member, that the distinguished member of Lamu, that most of the youth are back home. Almost 3/4 of those that are being skilled. So don't you think it is high time you revised this policy of skilling Uganda. But Mr. Speaker, let me conclude. Recently, I went through the public debt. Are you aware that if you add, it is at 84 trillion, but if you add commitment fees and interest, it is at 97 trillion. And I calculated, I realized the burden will shift from us to the younger people. They will be the ones who will pay that debt. So I was pondering over it and said, if you were to design a very good theme for Monday, next Monday, 12th, it should have been, blessed are the youth of Uganda because they will inherit the public debt. Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker, sir.
Honourable Minister. You don't need to answer every question, Honourable Minister. You have 5 minutes.
I'll merge some. Honourable Bachireke Betty Namboze raised the issue of the National Unity Platform young people. I want to inform you that we shall issue a statement on Monday in Soroti. I had a discussion with the President just yesterday. I reminded him of his kindness. He had allowed to stand surety. He had allowed to stand surety for those young people. Most of those young people were given bail, but they were denied bail due to the conditions that were put in place. Just hold on. So the President has once again pledged that he's going to act on that. Let it be on record of Parliament. Those young people will get freedom soon. Number 2, Honorable Patrick Oshabe. Honorable Patrick Oshabe.
Colleagues, there is a statement that has a theme. There is a day which has a theme. We are the ones who diverted the minister from the theme. So let's go back.
Honorable Linda Irene requested that we needed to equip the skilled youth. That is part of our agenda. We have discussed this in cabinet, and soon a paper will come to the floor of Parliament regarding you have skilled but you have not equipped. What happens? You go back to the village or you go back to your residence. So we shall equip and skill. Then Honorable Kabahande from Chegegwa, Kabahenda from Chegegwa, Flavia, he raised the issue of equity, that the disabled are not considered as in reference to training. Few are attaining training. I want to inform you, Honorable Kabahenda, that we have the Minister of the Disabled, and we are working closely to close the gaps. Whatever gaps are there, we shall close them. Then you raised the issue of low budget for these disabled children, rehabilitation centers. That is not the only affected area in our ministry. In the last budget, we requested more funds to feed even the juvenile. We have close to 1,800 young people, juveniles, who are currently in detention or who are currently in remand homes, but they eat very small portion of food. Only the budget of 640 million was passed by this house to feed those children and to maintain those homes. Some of these homes even don't have cars to deliver the children to court to get fair justice. So this is something, as a Minister of Children, we need to work on, and Parliament, we need to have this matter addressed as soon as possible, so that these children home get cars. I'm inspecting the homes. I was in Mbale 2 days ago. I was in Fort Portal the other day. I went to Masindi on Friday. I intend to go to Gulu next week and Arua a week after. So, and then Kampiringisa. So let's work together, Parliament and the Cabinet, to have this budget for the juvenile centers and the rehabilitation centers increased, so that now I'll give you an example for Fort Portal remand home. There is a block which still has asbestos, and these are condemned materials. So why don't we remove those asbestos and we put iron sheets? So we need to work jointly as Parliament and Cabinet to have this addressed. The Honorable Nyakato of Buyende raised the issue of having only Nakabango, where 16 youth were selected from every district. So far, government has started with 18 skilling centers countrywide in every sub-region. But out of those 18, they allocate every district. Like in Central here in Buganda, you have one in Kayunga, but the capacity to hold so many is not there. And the budget, that was a presidential initiative. The budget hasn't been expanded for the same. Then Honorable Okot Boniface, Honorable Okot Boniface thanked the President and government for celebrating the International Youth Day on the right day. I want to thank the President as well for allowing this happen. Honorable Namuga raised the issue of money, 43 billion, that is meant to be revolved as per Auditor General's report, and it has not been revolved. This will be investigated and we shall report back to Parliament.
Sorry,
Then,
point of privilege.
Mr. Speaker, while coming here, I was privileged to meet street children and children who are...
Please, honorable colleagues, I guided you. Okay? Point of privilege is for your privilege is here. What you're entitled to as a member. Whom you meet on the streets and all that, please. Honorable Minister, resume
I was
your
trying
seat.
to bring the point.
Please. Honorable colleagues, please.
Honorable Masaba raised a very important concern regarding the working conditions of our young people. Honorable Masaba, I need to inform you, I would like to inform you that 2 months ago we formed an inter-ministerial committee comprising of Minister of Investment, Minister of Trade, and Minister of Labor, Minister of State for Labor. So we are working closely together, inspecting all these centers to see the gaps, missing gaps are filled. So this is very, very important that the young people's safety is prioritized and that will be handled. I think those are the many I identified. Thank you, Right Honourable Speaker.
Thank you. Honourable colleagues, I think, Honourable Minister, you made a statement which, as a speaker, using my authority under Rule 229, I feel should be expunged from the record, because you said the President is going to stand surety. The President cannot stand surety for any people, for any person, because if he stands surety, any person who stands surety and is not able to produce the accused, that person will go to prison. And the President cannot be taken to prison. He has immunity. Okay? So for the record, that should be expunged so that we keep our President safe from people running to him to be their surety. Okay? Yeah. Maybe, Honorable, there is a way the President put it. Yeah.
I think you're right, Honorable Speaker. I totally agree that phrase should be expunged. Nonetheless, I'd like to thank the members for this very lively debate and to stress that His Excellency the President, Yoweri Kaguta Museveni, is one of the strongest allies of the youth we have in East Africa. He indeed fondly refers to the youth as Bazukulu, and in any address, he emphasizes the opportunities created under NRM for the youth in terms of education, in terms of health and immunization, in terms of the skilling hubs, in terms of industrialization, providing for the security, and so on, even including providing opportunities for leadership for the youth at all levels of governance in this country. So for me, I think this Youth Day is an opportunity to give credit to His Excellency the President for a good job done in this country in providing opportunities for the youth. I'd like to urge the youth leaders at all levels, especially in local government. Let's take this day seriously, mobilize the youth so so that they take opportunities in government programs to strengthen the future of the youth. I thank you, and thanks to our Honorable Minister for a good job done. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Honorable Guzuri. We allow you.
Mr. Speaker, the Minister for Youth outlined the NRM government's agenda for inclusivity, and he mentioned that they have programs for PWDs. I'm privy to information that there are street children who have not been catered for in this event he's leading. I also have information that there are youth who are orphans, they do not have parents, and they have not been catered for on the programming for this event. So we want the minister to tell us, so that the children who are orphans and street kids across the country can go, after his statement that indeed this government cares for them. Most importantly, he should assure the children with the visual and the hearing impairments who do not have gadgets and how they are going to celebrate this day without those necessary tools which are needed. And he needs to tell us what arrangements they have put in place for children of that nature. We are going to mobilize as urged by the Minister for Local Government.
Honourable Minister.
Of their
Please. Honourable Minister, I think that's for noting. You've heard the concern of the Honourable Member. Next item.
Item 4, statement by the Leader of the Opposition in response to the President's address on the State of the Nation address pursuant to Rule 53 of the Rules of Procedure. Debate ensues.
Now, Honourable colleagues, you remember very well, we agreed on Statement 4 and Statement 5 will be debated jointly. Now, the Leader of Opposition raised very critical issues, some of which really concerned, were of great concern. I called the Minister of Finance. I said, I think before we start the debate, we'd need clarification on these points, because they were really very strong. So, Honourable Minister for Finance, I request you give that statement which I requested you to make, and then we go on with the debate. Honourable colleagues, we on this item, we've just started it. So we can't have just started an item and then we go on procedure. You know. No, the other one is gone. We are on a new item now. Yeah.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, before I make responses to the statement by the Leader of Opposition, let me...
Yes, Rob?
Mr. Speaker, I want to thank you for asking the Minister to respond to the salient issues raised by my statement. But under normal procedure, Mr. Speaker, his response should have been circulated to us. And it is appalling that up to now we are not in receipt of the statement, of the response, Mr. Speaker.
Honourable Minister, is your statement uploaded? Clerk, I want to confirm if it's uploaded. You run it on the screens. Can it be uploaded quickly? Let's save time, honourable colleagues. Let's save time, okay? Now let him be reading and as they upload it.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, let me first of all take this opportunity to appreciate the Leader of Opposition for making a good analysis, particularly pointing out the matters which affect the economy and are normally of public concern. Mr. Speaker, I wish to respond to the issues raised by the Leader of Opposition relating to Ministry of Finance one by one as follows. Issue 1 was on overtaxation. I don't want to repeat what the Leader of Opposition said, but I want to present the response. Mr. Speaker,
Honorable Seung, I have allowed the member, okay? I've allowed the minister, and I have directed the clerk to be applauding. So it will take a short time to be applauded. Please. If you have 2 copies, share a copy with the rope. Honorable Minister.
Okay.
But if you have 1, I have confirmed they've taken it for loading, for uploading. Let's do it quickly. Let's save
Mr.
time,
Speaker,
Honorable Minister.
my staff can share a copy with the rope.
Honorable Minister,
Mr.
your staff are strangers here. They cannot access Parliament.
The
Please.
Leader of Opposition, the Leader. Mr. Speaker, may I, it's now on. But it does no harm if a rope gets a hard copy. Mr. Speaker, our response on overtaxation is as follows. During the discussions of the budget for financial year 2024-25 with the Parliamentary Committee on Finance Planning and Economic Development, the Ministry committed to present the National Draft Tax Policy by December 2024. The Ministry is still committed to this timeline and is in advanced stages of finalizing the policy in consultation with relevant stakeholders. The domestic revenue mobilization strategy has been under implementation since financial year 2019-20. However, immediately after its launch in 2019, Uganda suffered a COVID-19 pandemic outbreak. The restrictions adopted by Uganda and globally adversely affected its full implementation. That notwithstanding, all the measures proposed over the period under reference have been in accordance with the domestic revenue mobilization strategy, and a number of interventions are being implemented both at tax policy level and at tax administration level. Over the last 4 financial years, there have been no significant changes in the tax regime to enable a stable regime that supports investment and growth in the economy. The few adjustments that have been implemented have been in line with the domestic revenue mobilization strategy after studying the implications on welfare. The ROP raised an issue on increasing poverty in the country. Mr. Speaker, our response is that poverty reduction is one of the key development objectives of the government. This is reflected in all national development plans since 2010, as well as the preceding Poverty Eradication Action Plan 1997 to 2008.
Procedure, Honorable.
Yes, Right Honorable Speaker. The procedure I am bringing across is that today is Thursday. And when we look at our time, it is now time for the Prime Ministers to answer questions. And in our rules of procedure, we have it. I don't know whether we are proceeding well, Mr. Chief.
Honorable, I can see you're very alert. Yeah, but unfortunately, I just received the communication the Prime Minister is still held up. So we are not going to do Prime Minister's time today. So let's continue. The issues we have other days, we shall handle them on Tuesday. The members I had registered, I will start with them on Tuesday.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, on increasing poverty in the country,
Now, the government chief whip, the information I got from you that the Prime Minister is chairing a RAPEX meeting. So, she has concluded, so, Right Honourable Prime Minister, since this is equally a very important statement, is coming from your side, giving serious clarifications, let the Minister use like 10 minutes. Members will read through, and then we resume Prime Minister's time. Yeah.
Thank you, Right Honourable Speaker. On the issue of increasing poverty in the country, Mr. Speaker, I wish to disagree with the statement of the Leader of Opposition that poverty is increasing in Uganda. The latest official figures from the Uganda Bureau of Statistics on poverty in Uganda show that the share of the population living below the national income poverty rate has been on the downward trend over the last 3 decades. And when we are discussing statistics on any matter in Uganda, we should take those of UBOS. The share of the population below the national income poverty line reduced further to 20.3% in financial year 2019-20 from 21.4% in financial year 2016-17 and 56% in 1992-93. The recent gains were achieved in spite of the negative economic effects of COVID-19 pandemic. Similarly, multidimensional poverty has dropped from 63.8% in the financial year 1992-93 to 42% in financial year 2019-20. It is therefore clear that poverty is reducing than increasing, majorly contributed by the government poverty initiatives. Poverty reduction in the country has also become more inclusive. Income inequality across households reduced from 0.419 to 0.413 over the same period, 2016-17 to 2019-20 financial year. Evidence presented in the latest poverty status report of 2021 confirms a strong positive relationship between poverty reduction and public investments under livelihood programs that include Uganda Women Entrepreneurship Program WEP, Youth Livelihood Program YLP, and the National Agricultural Advisory Program NADS. Whereas the PDM is contributing to increasing household incomes and improving the living standards of all Ugandans, the 100 million seed capital provided under the financial inclusion pillar is targeting only the subsistence households in a parish and not the entire household population of that parish. There are only 3.5 million households still in subsistence out of the 10.9 million households in the country. The financial inclusion pillar under PDM was designed to achieve the following. 1, address the challenges of the access to affordable capital for targeted beneficiaries to be able to participate in meaningful production at their respective parishes. According to research, financial inclusion and education are the 2 biggest opportunity equalizers for poor households. 2, address previous challenges encountered in the past wealth creation programs such as Entandikwa, Youth Livelihood Programs, OWC, and NADS. 3, put the communities at the center of decision-making through self-governance and management of funds at their PDM circles. It is the people who borrow these funds to invest in their preferred enterprises with Chivaro, repay the funds so that others can then access because the funds revolve at each of the parishes. Evidence so far indicates that parishes where all leaders listened to His Excellency the President's rallying call and mobilized the parishes to own and prudently manage the funds, are doing better than the areas where leaders have propagated the narrative of Akasimo. Similarly, under Emyoga, the government is targeting micro and small entrepreneurs.
Honorable Minister, can we use parliamentary language in the statement?
Akasimo.
I had the Chivaro, now Akasimo. Yeah.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. Chivaro means calculation. You calculate the income you are going to receive out of the investment you have made using PDM funds. And the Kasimo means to appreciate, whereby you are appreciated for the previous contribution you have made. Mr. Speaker, similarly, under Emyoga, the government is targeting micro and small scale entrepreneurs who already have a business in the services sector of border, restaurant, welding, mechanics, etc. The entrepreneurs have been mobilized at the constituency level, and their small businesses supported to access affordable capital to expand their businesses. Like PDM, Emyoga members manage their funds and have a strong saving component, which has seen the beneficiaries save up to Uganda shillings 85.5 billion. The ministry is also focusing on scaling up these interventions concerning the certification of products, value chain development, and the provision of additional capital to Emyoga circles. Issue 3 was Youth Employment and Uncoordinated Labor Externalization Program. Mr. Speaker, our response is that the Poverty Status Report confirms that the negative effects of COVID-19 and a large share of households in subsistence and informal economy are among the main drivers of unemployment in the country. As a result, unemployment rate of the working age population increased from 10 to 12% between financial year 2016-17 and 2021, and that of the youth from 13 to 16% over the same period. To address this challenge, government is implementing a number of programs of wealth creation and job creation initiatives, including the PDM, the Presidential Initiative on Wealth and Job Creation, Emyoga, the Agricultural Credit Facility, capitalization of Uganda Development Bank, as well as the 2 new development finance flagship projects for micro, small, and medium enterprises, the investment of industrial transformation and employment, and the generating growth opportunities and productivity for women enterprises grow. The above interventions target to benefit enterprises and households in both the formal and informal economies. During the last 3 financial years of 2021-22 to 2022-23 and 2023-24, more than 2 million households across the 10,585 parishes have already benefited from the capital injection of Uganda shillings 1 million under PDM. In fact, this figure is now upgraded. Each household, each parish has now received 200 million. From 2019 to date, over 314,548 employment opportunities have been created under Emyoga program. During the year 2023, a total of 51,841 jobs were created by enterprises funded by UDB. Of these, 64% were filled by youth, 27% by women, and 0.25% by persons with disabilities. Additionally, 33%, 39%, and 0.2% of youth women, and PWDs respectively are among the shareholders of beneficiary enterprises. The Leader of Opposition raised an issue on interest rates, and our response is that the developments in the global economy, such as the increased commodity prices like fuel, impacted on the domestic inflation, necessitating the Bank of Uganda to raise its central bank rate to contain these inflationary pressures. Annual headline inflation has indeed declined from the peak of 10.7% in October 2022 to 4.0% in July 2024. This has also supported a reduction in interest rates, even though they remain high. Interest rates have declined from an average of 19.22% in January-June 2023 to an average of 17.83% for the period January-June 2024. In response to high interest rates, the government has taken deliberate action to provide affordable capital through the following: the parish development model, the Emyoga Agricultural Credit Facility, and the capitalization of UDB. On exchange rates, Mr. Speaker, the response is that in financial year 2023-24, the Uganda shilling other key global currencies. This was the case despite the strengthening of the US dollar. During the period, the annual average exchange rate was Uganda shillings 3,778.5 against $1, registering a slight depreciation of 0.7%, 0.7 compared to Uganda shillings 3,752.5 per US dollar registered in the previous financial year. This level of depreciation was the lowest in the East African region. That is, Kenya, Rwanda, Tanzania, and Burundi registered depreciations of 14.8%, 16.4%, 8.5%, and 32.8% respectively. While the shilling experienced some depreciation pressures of 1.8% in February 2024 on account of the exit of some of the offshore investors searching for more attractive interest rates in competing markets, it was short-lived. This was on account of our good export performance, particularly coffee, increased foreign direct investment, inflows, and appropriate fiscal and monetary policies. Government will continue to ensure a stable exchange rate through its policies, including import substitution and export promotion. The Leader of Opposition raised an issue on the rising debt, and Mr. Speaker, our response is that in the recent period, the government has increased investment in the oil and gas sector and the related infrastructure like the airport, oil roads, energy sector like Karuma and the Simba hydropower dams. This has led to an increase in our debt stock and the debt servicing obligations. As at the end of June 2024, the stock of public debt amounted to Uganda shilling to US dollars 25.58 billion. As the Leader of Opposition, I heard you previously mentioning a figure. I invite you to take note of this. At the end of June 2024, the stock of total public debt amounted to US dollars 25.58 billion, an equivalent of 94 trillion 816.9 billion, of which US dollars 14.62 billion, an equivalent of Uganda shillings 54 trillion 183.5 billion was external, and US dollars 10 trillion 10.9 96 billion, an equivalent of 40,633.8 billion, was domestic. This translates into a nominal debt to GDP ratio of 46.91%. This level is well below the 52.4% stipulated in the Charter of Fiscal Responsibility. You will recall that the Charter of Fiscal Responsibility, which is approved by Parliament, provides the government's fiscal policy objectives that will ensure sustainable delivery of socio-economic transformation. It stipulates acceptable fiscal limits that balance out risk while allowing for economic progress. We recognize that our debt servicing needs have significantly increased for the reasons already mentioned above, but we have taken appropriate measures to preserve debt sustainability. It is important to properly manage the borrowed resources to yield the intended benefits, and several measures have been taken to this end. The entire loan acquisition